Hello, I'm Raider Pilot Steve and welcome to another museum review on this channel. This will, like before, follow a similar format to my airshow reviews, but with more of a focus on the individual stories and histories of the aircraft on show. My major interest is the preserved aircraft, and so I will primarily focus on these for this review. Having visited the RAF Manson History Museum, I also visited the Spitfire and Hurricane Memorial Museum, which is located a mere minute or two away by foot. I also visited this museum as a child with my grandparents. This museum is home of two iconic British fighters of the Second World War, a Hawker Hurricane and a Supermarine Spitfire, along with a plethora of artefacts and wreckage fragments also on display. The museum also boasts both a Spitfire and a Lancaster flight simulator that can be booked up in advance. The museum is very good value as it is free to visit. It also has a very nice cafe that I would definitely recommend trying, as this helps support the museum further. There was no particular order in which to view the display, so I will take you through in the order I wandered. Hope you enjoy. As you enter the museum, the first major area on the left is the home to the museum's Hawker Hurricane. This particular aircraft is a Mark II-C variant with the serial number LF751. This Hurricane was built in 1944 at Langley and went to number 22 maintenance unit at RAF Silloth in mid-March that year. In early April, she was assigned to her first unit, number 1681 Bomber Defence Training Flight at RAF Pershaw and RAF Long Marston. Later in the year, she was moved to number 27 Operational Training Unit at RAF Waterbeach, where she would remain for the rest of her service life. In mid-1945, whilst at Waterbeach, she was relegated to ground instruction duties and assigned the code 5466M. Another Hurricane that was based here was LF363, which would be one of the four founding aircraft of the Battle of Britain memorial flight. In order to keep LF363 in an airworthy condition, many components were taken from LF751 as well as Z3687 and PG953. LF751 was later refurbished for a long-term display outside, making her a rather complex hybrid aircraft which almost made her a Mark II-D. She then spent almost 3 decades as a gate guardian for RAF Bentley Priory, and by the end of this time was one of only 2 gate guardians left in the UK, the other being LF738 at RAF Biggin Hill, which is now displayed at RAF Cosford. In 1985, she was removed from RAF Bentley Priory and transported to Rochester Airport by the Medway Aircraft Preservation Society, or MAPS, and so began the lengthy restoration process. With the approval of the Ministry of Defence, this Hurricane was finished in the markings of BN-230, which was part of No. 43 Squadron, nicknamed the Fighting Cocks. BN-230 had a significant history as it was flown by squadron leader Daniel Leroy Duvivier, who was the first Belgian to command a Royal Air Force squadron. His Hurricane was also the first RAF fighter to fly over Dieppe in August 1942 and led the Tangier Wing in Operation Jubilee. In April 1988, LF751 was wheeled out of Rochester in pristine condition and ready to join her stablemate Spitfire TB752 in the museum building. This rebuild took the Medway Aircraft Preservation Society some 22,000 man-hours and some £18,000. Also, in the same area with the Hurricane was the fuselage of a Supermarine Spitfire Mark 1A with the serial number P9337. This aircraft first took to the skies in 1940 from Eastleigh Aerodrome and would then be delivered to No. 6 Maintenance Unit for armament and wireless installation. A month later, it entered frontline service with No. 222 Squadron at RAF Duxford. This particular Spitfire was also flown by Flight Lieutenant Douglas Bader on 7 occasions between April and June of 1940. It saw significant use during the Dunkirk evacuations, where it would successfully shoot down a Messerschmitt Bf-110C. Later, It would also participate in the Battle of Britain, where it flew from Duxford and later Hornchurch. At the end of August 1940, this aircraft was shot down by a Messerschmitt Bf 109E whilst in combat over Ashford in Kent and would crash on Romney Marsh. Flying P9337 on that fateful day was Flying Officer G.G.A. Davies, who was able to bail out but did suffer burns as a result of the crash. These were later treated in hospital, and he would end up surviving the war and having a distinguished RAF career and retiring as a squadron leader in 1959. This aircraft, as we see it, was rebuilt by John Radford, who used a significant number of original parts that were recovered from the crash site and was registered with the CAA as G-IADX. In mid-2022, it was acquired by new owners who intend to restore P9337 to an airworthy condition. Moving on to the next room, which is home of the Supermarine Spitfire LF-16E with the serial number TB752. This is a rare example of a wartime Spitfire with several confirmed kills during its service. It was built at Castle Bromwich in 1944 and was assigned to No. 66 Squadron at RAF Linton-on-Ouse in March 1945, where it was initially tasked with attacking road and rail targets in northern Holland and Germany. At the end of March 1945, TB752 was badly damaged after a landing accident and was transferred to No. 409 Repair and Salvage Unit. In April 1945, it was transferred to No. 403 Wolf Squadron, Royal Canadian Air Force, based at Diepholz in Germany. This is where TB752 scored 4 confirmed kills over a period of less than a fortnight. On the 21st of April, Squadron Leader Hank Zari shot down a Messerschmitt Me-109. Incidentally, this was Hank's first flight in TB752. On 25th of April, Flying Officer David Leslie shot down what is believed to be a Focke-Wulf FW-189 Uhu. On the 1st of May, Flying Officer Bob Young shot down a Focke-Wulf FW-190, and on the 3rd of May, Flying Officer Fred Town shot down a Heinkel HE-111. This particular combat is depicted in a painting by Michael Turner, with prints being available in the museum shop. I regret not buying one on my visit. After the war, TB752 was neglected for years before being moved to Manson in 1955, where she stood for a long time as the station gate guardian. Unfortunately, this led to TB752 corroding away at an alarming rate. Thankfully, in 1978, the Medway branch of the Royal Aeronautical Society offered to restore TB752 to its former glory. In July that year, it was transferred to Rochester Airport for restoration. After some 15,000 man-hours, TB752 was brought out in pristine condition and returned to Manston in September 1979. Fundraising was started to finance a secure building to properly house such a well-restored aircraft. The response was incredibly positive, and TB752 was moved into its new quarters in 1981, where she has been on display ever since. In conclusion, my visit to the Spitfire and Hurricane Memorial Museum was incredibly enjoyable. Seeing the Spitfire and Hurricane in immaculate condition was fantastic, and I hope that P9337's new owners are able to restore her to flight in the future. There's also a great amount of information and other artefacts on display that I haven't included in this review. I would highly recommend visiting this museum as its exhibits are well looked after and it is free to visit. It also has a rather lovely cafe and a great museum shop, which all helps raise money to support the museum. If you enjoyed this video, please consider visiting the Spitfire and Hurricane Memorial Museum, as seeing everything for yourself is far better than just seeing photos or videos of the exhibits. Thanks again for watching. Please like and subscribe, as any support is greatly appreciated. I hope you join me in the next one. Bye.